Top story out of Washington, where a Supreme Court opinion has been leaked, reported by Politico, has dropped, shocking the nation. That leaked opinion suggesting this: the court is set to overturn the historic Roe v. Wade 1973 ruling and the subsequent 1992 ruling of Planned Parenthood versus Casey. Joining us now to discuss that is Louisiana Congressman Clay Higgins. Congressman, welcome, and thanks so much for coming on. We do appreciate the time here. I just want to pull something from what Politico has confirmed and gathered, that leak of the opinion from Alito, writing that we hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. He writes in the document labeled as the opinion of the court, it is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. He also calls it egregiously wrong from the start, referring to Roe v. Wade. Your thoughts on this bombshell story?
Justice Alito's opinion was very aggressively written, and he was correct. Roe and Casey, particularly Roe, has been egregiously wrong from a constitutionalist perspective since its ruling in '73, and should have been overturned long ago. But the bottom line is that our conservative justices recognize their duty to overturn precedent here, and they're courageous enough to take that stand to do so. The leak of that Supreme Court justice opinion, behalf of the majority, allegedly, is very disturbing. Obviously, the staff or some members within that had access to that writ, to that opinion, have released it to the press with the intent to disturb the American citizenry and cause protest and riot. And I predict this is going to turn violent. So, there's some woke Democrat within the staff infrastructure, most likely, of the Supreme Court that got access to this thing, and they thought it was a good idea to leak it, and they're going to cause quite a disturbance across the country. It's happening already. And all I can tell you is that America is not in the mood to play with these liberals. We've lost 96 million children in the womb since '73. It's scars that we'll never heal from as a nation spiritually, what we've allowed to happen to our most innocent, unborn, vulnerable children of God in the womb, slaughtered under our watch, under my generation's watch in America. It's about time we reverse it. And if the liberal woke left wants a fight, then they'll get a fight.
Let me ask you about this, because here's a point where you yourself, Congress, could get involved. There's been talks of, I believe it was Senator Sanders that tweeted out in regards to the filibuster that needed to be ended. And there is some Democrat support for that. Your thoughts on the left going after, again, now trying to take a different route, if you will, by, again, you see it here, this is the tweet here, we must end the filibuster to pass it with 50 votes. That to codify Roe v. Wade. Your thoughts on that?
They have the authority. Constitutionally, Congress can write its rules, and in a bicameral, bipartisan Congress, in the House and the Senate, you've seen this swing back and forth, the rules in each chamber. So the Senate has a right to change their own rules, but they better think long and hard before they do, because ultimately they will pay. America is not going to stand for this big government socialist destruction of our country from within by my most liberal Democrat colleagues across the aisle in the House and the Senate. And Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders and AOC, they should all pay attention to the time in America when we are no longer going to tolerate their leftist pushing of our culture in America over into the abyss of the total loss of our nation. They're attacking us from within. We've had enough. We're not going to put up with it. So they could change the filibuster rules. Yes, they could. They have that authority. But ultimately, they will lose. Which
would and then if they had to pass legislation, obviously it would have to go through the House at some point. And the timing of it, by the way, you mentioned that it's midterm season. There are primaries happening today in Ohio and Indiana, et cetera. That's going to go on and on and on until midterms there in November. Before you go, I did want to get this a very specific point. There's a soundbite from you, and I'm going to switch back to the southern border here because we just got those numbers of 210,000 encounters for the month of April. When probing Secretary Mayorkas, I know you had this chance. You actually called on him to resign. We have that soundbite. Let me play that for the viewers here.
You've been called upon to resign by myself and others. Next year, if we have the majority in this committee, which we shall, you're still in office, you'll face impeachment. And own this thing. We're losing our country down there. We need you to resign. Save the country the pain of your impeachment.
Final thoughts, Congressman Higgins.
Secretary Mayorkas will be impeached next year if he's still in office. So I advise him to resign. That doesn't mean he still won't be held responsible for his actions, but he could if he has a patriotic fiber left in his entire being. He will spare America from the pain of his impeachment, and it is coming.
All right. Congressman Clay Higgins of Louisiana. Good to see you, Congressman. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.